Welcome everyone to the HCBS Community Practice. I am absolutely delighted that you are choosing to be here today. Whether you are watching this by yourself or with a team, we are delighted to have a community where we can come and learn and share with each other. If you have not already, we will be going over a skill called Presence to Contribution. So please make sure that you download that activity packet. That will have everything that we discuss in this video and more. Plus, if you're watching this as a team, we do have the Do-It-Yourself Facilitator Guide. So if one of you are willing to facilitate deeper conversation with your team, please be sure to download that. It will give you instructions on things that you can say, timing of activities, to really enhance the experience with your team while watching this video. So as I said, we are going to be discussing a skill called Presence to Contribution. And Presence to Contribution really does support many of the requirements within the HCBS final rule, but specifically HCBS Requirement number 1. And Requirement number 1 speaks to the importance of accessing community. The rule really emphasizes that people with disabilities have the same opportunities to be an active and included member. And I'm going to emphasize active and included member of their neighborhood and community as people would that do not have a disability. This also means that people that are receiving supports can find competitive employment if they desire to, that they can participate in local activities, and services are provided in the community just like people without disabilities. If you have not already, there is a specific video around HCBS Requirement number 1 that goes into more detail around what your regional center DDS is looking for. We have different questions that you can ask yourself as a provider to gauge how you are doing. So if you want further detail on HCBS Requirement number 1, please make sure to watch that video and we'll explain some resources that we have. But as I said, the important part of this is the active and included member. And when we talk about requirement number 1, we want to emphasize that it's not just taking a person somewhere. It's not just being in the community. For example, I can go to the gym, but just because I'm physically at the gym does not mean I have membership. It does not mean I'm a contributing active member, because I may not know anyone there. I may not know those unwritten rules of the gym. People don't know who I am. And that's really important when we're looking to connect people to be vibrant members. Yes, the first step is getting there, but we want to continue to ask ourselves what more is possible. How can the person find meaning and purpose and have authentic relationships with others? So I want you to just think for a moment, where are places that you feel you are a member of? So once again, just take a few minutes. Where are places that you feel you are a member of? And I want you to write those down. Next, I want you to think of what are the contributing factors that make you feel that you are a member. And if you're doing this with a team right now, I encourage you to pause the video. Think of the places that you have membership and what are the contributing factors that makes you feel that way. And after you've given time to capture that information, have a discussion. See if there's commonalities. So you can look at your facilitator guide right now for further questions that you may ask. But please pause the video if you are working with a team now. If you are watching this by yourself, please go ahead and think about, again, what are those contributing factors? How does it make you feel? What are you doing to be a contributing member? So go ahead and pause the video and take some notes. All right, hopefully you pause the video for enough time that you need to think about where you have membership and what those factors are that contribute to that feeling. And what we're finding in conversations with other community members, with providers, is that membership and being a contributing member means that you feel safe. It means that you have connections. People know who you are and you know others. They will recognize if you are not there. And that feeling, that sensation that comes from having that type of membership is something that we want for all people. We want people to be seen for who they are. We want people to be recognized for their gifts, their strengths, their talents, for who they are as a person. And we could only reach that point of membership when we are actively participating in our community. And if you watch the last video, we know that community can be anything to a person. It can be many different things, and it can look different because it's what's important to the person. So as we look to support people from being just present to becoming a contributing member, we started to ask ourselves, what are the skills, what are the tools and resources that can support this effort? Not only for the person that's receiving support, but for staff, for their circle of support, for family members. And we thought that a skill called presence to contribution would be a great way to start the conversation and to identify what supports are needed. And you'll find presence to contribution on activity page 5 in your workbooks. And presence to contribution is a great way of noticing and recording what it looks like to be present for an activity and what it can look like when they're contributing more fully in that activity. And it gives us a way to recognize how we can support the person in moving from presence to contribution. And I say moving because it is a journey. This is not something that we expect by tomorrow everyone's going to be a contributing member, because we know it takes time. We know it takes an effort. And that can look different for every single person that you support. But this tool, this resource, gives us a way to outline each step in that journey. And the first is being present. And being present means that the person is there, they're physically there, but they may not be noticed by others or notice other people. So again, it's people going and walking in the mall. There's no relationship, there's no interaction, there's no connection, but they are there. And then we move to having presence. And having presence means that people notice you. You notice other people. You start to recognize what are those unwritten rules, and you start following those unwritten rules within that activity. And when I say unwritten rules, it's what are the social norms? What are people doing? What's the expectation in that place, in that setting? So whether it's the gym, at church, wherever you are, what are those unwritten rules? And then we move to actively participating. And that means that the person is engaging and talking with other people. They're following those unwritten rules and expectations. So we're starting to see more participation rather than just being present. And then once a person starts actively participating, we notice that they start connecting. And this means that there's greater participation, they're engaging with others within their community, they're learning about others, they start forming relationships with other people within that activity. And once a person starts connecting, we start seeing contributing. And this means that the person's gifts, talents, skills are being recognized, and they are giving their skills to their community, and their gifts and capacities are being recognized and welcomed. You'll notice on the right-hand side of this skill, it says, what does good support look like? And this is a great way for the person and their circle of support to speak to what is it that the staff can do, what can the family members do to support their effort in becoming a contributing member. And I do want to preface it, I do get the question about, well, what happens if the person does not use words to communicate? Through observation, through conversations with people that know and care about the person, you can make the best informed guess that you can. You can also use your own experiences in those settings to talk about what is a contributing member within the church. So utilize other people in the person's circle of support to capture this information. And then if you find that something either works or doesn't work, make sure that you're changing it on this skill. So let's go ahead and look at an example. And an example is we supported a woman, Jessica, who really wanted to be a part of a community surrounded by baseball. She loves sports. And so we looked at what will it take for Jessica to be present at the Diamond Ranch baseball games. And as you can see, it's really just going to the baseball game. It's sitting near the stands, but just getting there. And then we look at having presence. What does it look like when Jessica has presence at the baseball games? And you'll see that it's sitting in the stands with fans, it's cheering with the fans, and even eating that famous ballpark food that we all know and love. And then looking at what does it look like when Jessica is actively participating in those baseball games. And we'll see that it's learning the baseball players' names. It's having the information. It's learning the names of the regular fans, the crowds. And then connecting within those baseball games would be Jessica arriving early so she can get seats next to the people that she's forming relationships with. It's staying after the games to visit with the fans. So it's not just showing up, watching, and then leaving. She's creating space and time to connect with people within that community. And then we asked ourselves, how can Jessica be a contributing member within the baseball games? And you'll see that it might be, and it might be. This does not mean that she has to do it. It might be volunteering in the concession stand, attending fundraising events. So there's a clear path and journey of what Jessica can do to be a contributing member. And as I said, the right-hand side, we can identify what staff can do to support Jessica's effort in becoming a contributing member. Now it's time for you all to practice. What I'd like you to do is think of one person that you support, that you know well. If you're with a team, please choose someone that all of you, for the most part, know and can speak to. And then identify one place that they enjoy going. Whether it's church, the gym, the nail salon, the 99-cent store. Where is one place that they enjoy going? As a team or independently, I'd like you to think about and identify what needs to happen for them to become a contributing member of that community. And this is why it's important to choose a place that they enjoy. It's not for us to determine, it's a place that they enjoy. and start having conversation on what it looks like to become a contributing member. After you've identified all the stages in the journey, have a conversation of what does good support look like? How and what can you do to support that person in successfully becoming a contributing member in the activity of their choice? You are going to be using Activity Sheet 7. It is fillable, or you can print it out. And please have a discussion of each stage from present to contributing and what successful supports looks like within each stage. I recommend that you pause for 10 minutes, but really, again, the beautiful thing about self-paced videos is you can pause as long as you need. But once again, this is on Activity Sheet 7, and go ahead and unpause as soon as you are done. All right, I hope that conversation with your team members was very revealing of what it actually looks like. And what we're finding is that you and I may do this every day. We don't cognitively think of what am I doing to be a contributing member. But this skill gives us an opportunity to have that conversation, to really look at in detail what needs to happen. And this is something that you would not do for a person. We strongly encourage you do this with the person. Ask the person what it looks like. What do they want to be doing? Because we never want to dictate what a person needs to do. So it's critically important that you do this with the person. For this activity, yes, you did do it for a person, but this is because we're watching a self-paced video. But once you leave here today, please make sure that you are doing this with a person. And the more people that you have engaging in this type of conversation is only going to set up the person for success. And there's many different ways that you can use presence to contribution. You can have many different activities, so the person may have this tool for various activities. It might be for work, it may be at church and the nail salon. And I want to leave you today again with just going over why we introduced presence to contribution. And when we look at requirement number 1, you can clearly see that it speaks to being an active and included member within their community. And the benefits of presence to contribution is that it highlights and clearly illustrates how to make that happen, what the person can do to become that active and included member, and then the supports that they want or need to make that happen, to support the person in that journey. So thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, please let us know. Please be sure to continue to check this website for updated materials, curriculum, and videos. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you.